Interested in ghosts? UFOs? How about the occult? Are you psychic? Would you like to find out? Well, if you're intrigued by the world's curiosities and all that is paranormal, then Paralore.com is a place for you. Create your own profile, start a photo album, write a blog, or just hang out and watch countless hours worth of paranormal videos while chatting with other Paralore members. Who knows? You could win a prize or two if you're quick and brave enough. It's all here, and it's all free. Visit www.paralore.com and join today. Again, membership is free, and we know you won't be disappointed.
Paralore.com. Unlock your mind.
You're listening to Ghostly Talk with Doug, Scott L., and Bonnie.
Would you cut it out, Bonnie?
What? I'm not doing anything.
Well, Doug, I'm glad you're enjoying this.
I was innocently sitting here dancing in my chair like Doug and I normally do every Sunday, and you hit me.
Well, he's going to start getting hit also.
Well, just be forewarned. You get one freebie, then I start hitting back.
Dylan Avery, writer... Go ahead, Doug. What were you going to say?
I am so glad. I'm 755 miles away from you guys
now.
I love you too, Doug.
If Bonnie's fists start flying, I want to be 755 miles away.
Let's move on here. She's a tough cookie. She is. Let's move on here, though. Yeah. Dylan Avery, writer and director of Loose Change 9/11, an American Coup, as well as the previous Loose Change films, continues to raise awareness for the truth movement. In 2009, he started the Avery Foundation to provide much-needed financial assistance to the 9/11 first responders and their families. We had Dylan on about 3 years ago talking about Loose Change. The website is www.loosechange911.com, and we'd like to welcome Dylan Avery back to Ghostly Talk. How you doing tonight, Dylan?
I'm doing pretty good. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have you back here. And I'm sure I know a lot has happened since our last encounter on the show. Obviously, we talked about Loose Change the last time we had you on, and really quick, I mean, what's happened since then? As far as, I mean, there's been another film. Has there been a couple other films? Tell us what's happened since then.
Wow, yeah, it's been a crazy 3 years. You don't remember when in 2006 it was? Was it before or after the anniversary? Maybe that's a better question.
I think it was before the anniversary. I think we actually had you on April of 2006, if memory serves me correct.
Oh, wow, man. Yeah, a lot happened since then. September 11th, 2006, we managed to gather approximately 2,000 people, I think, at least. It's a conservative estimate. 2,000 people from all over the world gathered at Ground Zero in New York City, and we actually gave away 10,000 DVDs for free and 600 T-shirts, and we had a bunch of banners and stuff that we handed out. It's actually funny. If you look at September 11th, 2005, if you watch any of the footage from there, sorry, my someone's trying to call in and it's beeping at me.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
It's fine. It's just distracting. But anyway, no. If you look at the footage from 9/11, 2005, there's a very small handful of people there, and it's I don't know if it could have been classified as a fringe movement, that's what it would have appeared like at 9/11, 2005. Because, like I said, there's a very small handful of people there, and they weren't being terribly vocal about it, at least not in mass numbers. But if you look at a year later on 9/11, 2006, we had 2,000 people or so assembled from all over the world, coming from Australia, etc. Just to show up at Ground Zero and to first to pay their respects, and second to show that the truth movement is a legitimate group of people. It's not a crazy group of basement dwellers. We're not all a bunch of kooks. There's a lot of very normal, everyday people, some in very good standing with their community and also in their fields of expertise.
Oh yeah.
The question answers those stories. So that was huge. I mean, that really was like a paramount moment in the movement. I feel is 2,000 to 3,000 people showing up at Ground Zero just to say, hey, we're here. So after that, the final cut was supposed to be released in late 2006, but we hit a bunch of snags. So that had to be pushed back until November 2007 when we finally released that. Loose Change final cut. That was a very long.
Oh yeah. Well, one thing I'm sorry, I have to tell you this because it's very interesting. Last year at this time, on 9/11 of 2008. Myself and my girlfriend and my sister were in Tennessee. We're from Michigan, obviously, but we were visiting some family in Tennessee down there. I was visiting family down there. And we decided to go to the Smoky Mountains. I don't know if you were familiar with the Smoky Mountains or not in Tennessee, but big, beautiful park area, all right? And we went out there on 9/11, and we of course, when we went into the main park to go up to the mountains and look at all the sights and stuff like that, we stopped at the main office area there where you can get souvenirs and all that funny stuff. And we come walking up, and there's a table set up with two people standing behind the table, and I go over there and I look, and they have copies of your film out there. They had stacks of DVDs, and I got to talking with them for a little while, and I'm like, man, I go, you're in Tennessee, you guys got some guts being here with this kind of stuff. But they were giving away for free. They were giving away copies upon copies. They gave me a bunch of copies of the film. My girlfriend got some, my sister got some, and I made my sister watch Loose Change also, and she's like, my God, this is insane, what the information these people are putting out here. So, I mean, on 9/11, in the middle of the Smoky Mountains, there was somebody out there spreading the word, Dylan. I just wanted to let you know about that was going on. At least that's what I saw on 9/11 of last year.
Outstanding, and that's what you saw in Tennessee, so that's incredible. You can only imagine what's going on in the rest of the world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was insane. But I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to just let you know about that. What else has been going on?
Wow, yeah. So let me see. This is the final cut. That's what I was going to get into. That's right.
Yeah.
That was a very long and arduous process. I don't know how much of the history you know, but it was, originally we were going to have a theatrical release with Mark Cuban's company, 2929. Charlie Sheen was going to narrate it, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And we managed to keep the deal under wraps for I would say at least 2 or 3 months. We told some friends of some very close friends of ours, but people that had no no bearing. They're not the kind of people that could talk to say the New York Post and tell them that the project was underway. So one way or another, word got to the New York Post that Mark Cuban's company was financing a new revoiced version of Loose Change, which wasn't entirely true because we were actually making an entirely new film. Mm-hmm. And we designed the final cut for a mainstream audience, and that's why the final cut is what it is. I mean, it's not, I don't want to say it's tamer, but we didn't come right out and say things the way we did in the second edition. It was more of an open-ended kind of, this is the evidence, you still have the option of it was this or it was this, whereas in the second edition, and again in this newest edition, it's more like this is how it is, you're going to have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. That's how you guys are presenting it, essentially, is, this is the information we're presenting, and this is this is what we think has happened here. And you said Martin Sheen, and I've seen a couple of interviews with Martin Sheen, where they've discussed the 9/11 issue, and he's very vocal about that. I mean, that's why it didn't surprise me that you mentioned that. He's very vocal about his beliefs on 9/11. I've seen him discuss on several occasions that he believes that there was something more going on than what we were told in the American media. But that unfortunately that never really come to fruition, though, right?
Yeah, no, that like I said, the news got leaked to the New York Post, and that was it. The deal disappeared before we could finalize it. So we pretty much had to go back home to New York and finish the movie ourselves, and do things the old-fashioned way.
Well, you guys started this film, and this is what amazes me is that the initial budget on this film that you guys had was like $2,000. Okay, and the new film that's going to be released September 22nd, from what I have here, September 22nd, 2009. It's an estimate. It's got a budget of $3,500,000.
Wow!
So I mean, you guys have really, you've really picked it up here, and still pushing the information out, but this is like anything. I think in the ghost world, where we work at, the paranormal and stuff like that. There's authors out there that will write a book, right? And then a couple years later, they'll have new information they want to add to it. They want to maybe they think they made an error on something. They want to just clean stuff up, so they'll do a reissued version. And it sounds like obviously this is what you guys are doing with this too. But this thing has really grown into something that there's a lot being put into it. Am I correct?
Yeah, that budget number is really, it's more of like an aggregate budget, kind of taking into account all the things that have led up to this edition, because, we used some material from the final cut, we used some material from the second edition. So it's not necessarily to say that just the production of this film alone cost $3 million per se, but with all the years, and with all the interviews, all the flights, et cetera, all the expenses totaled up, it's now about $3 million.
Oh yeah, and I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dylan.
No, it's cool. I don't want anyone to think that, wow, you know, they spent $3 million on this film, you know. These guys are high rollers.
And I understand what you're saying. I didn't want to I'm not trying to present it that way either. That's not what I wasn't doing.
Totally.
I'm saying that, you know, this is my point is that this has really grown into. I mean, yeah. I mean, as we know, there's a lot that you have to do with this kind of thing. I mean, and from going from $2,000 to that sum, I mean, there's been a lot of work put into this thing, and I mean, as we know, even when you're trying to do something as noble as you guys are doing, it costs money, unfortunately.
Right.
So, you know, that's just the way of the world. So that's what the point I was trying to make. I want to make that very clear to everybody out there and to you also, Dylan, that I wasn't trying to go, well, what's with all this money you're spending on this thing now? You know, what are you doing with that? No.
Yes, I want supermodels in the next movie. No, I agree. It does cost money to do that kind of stuff, and that's the kind of money that it would take to, to maybe open some people's eyes. I really believe that.
Well, yeah. And the last time we talked to you guys, Dylan, I mean, we really kind of got into the meat of this thing, and I do like we talked to Paul Cross in an hour, you know, in the last hour about a film he's worked on too, and we really kind of got into the meat of this thing. I want to ask you, and I don't remember if we asked you this the first time we had you on, what drove you and everybody else who's involved to do this film, just to do the original Loose Change? What really drove you guys? I don't even want to use the word inspired because that's a bad term for this thing, but what drove you guys to put this thing together and get this information out to people?
No, I think you could get away with using inspired because I was inspired to do what was within my means to educate my peers and the people around me about September 11th. So, yeah, I think we can get away with using the word inspired.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's. I understand, though. I mean, you do have to be very careful what words you use, especially when you're dealing with something like this.
Oh, yeah.
But it was, I really just kind of stumbled into the information because I was doing research for a fictional screenplay, which actually dealt more or less around this very premise. The premise of the United States government involvement in September 11th, the demolition of the World Trade Center, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I honestly, I know that the evidence and the things that I found out came from my research that I did for that screenplay, but I think that in the back of my mind, I must have always had my doubts because I don't think I would have, I don't think I blindly embarked upon that idea. I don't think I just woke up one day and said, oh, well, how about, the government was behind it. I think I must have had some kind of doubts in my mind, either subconsciously, or it must have been subconsciously, because again, I don't remember, going around on the 12th saying, oh, our government was behind this. It was nothing like that. It was really a wait and see attitude for a very long time. I was very hesitant to get behind any military action or really anything at all. I just wanted to see how it all panned out and wait for an investigation, which, as we all know, took over 400 days. But anyway. That's silly me for assuming the truth would come out quickly.
Yeah.
But
well,
it was really just one thing led to another, which is, as I'm sure it is with a lot of other people when it comes to 9/11, is that they found one piece of information, which I'm sure for a lot of people is the collapse of Building 7. And for me, that might have even been one of the very first things that I saw. I know that I mentioned it in the early script, so it must have been out there at that point.
Yeah. But
again, I don't remember the aha moment. Some people have that thing where they're like, oh, I was at my friend's house and this thing came on and that was it right there. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember the exact moment where the light bulb went off. I think it was just kind of a slow, gradual realization, I think.
Well, no, and you were talking about, and I can totally understand that. I don't think anything ever really, it isn't like in the cartoons where you see the light bulb come up over your head and, oh my God, I have the answer to everything. It never works that way. It's a process. It's a work in progress like anything else is. But you're talking about, one thing that I've been, especially this time of year when the anniversary comes around is, you start hearing, well, these conspiracy theorists are going to start coming out of the woodwork. Mm-hmm. And believe me, Dylan, I like to look at both sides of the issue. I've listened to what our government has to say about what happened. They say, look, here's the evidence that the conspiracy theorists put out, and here is the real evidence, right? And it goes back and forth. But what really kind of grinds on me is that a lot of the people who are on the, and I hate to use the word opposition to this thing, as far as the people that that are asking more questions about 9/11 besides, well, it was terrorist attacks. They hate us and they want to kill the infidels. Is that these people with their explanations will say, well, the conspiracy theorists are completely ill-researched. They do not research anything. They just go on the Internet or whatever it may be, and they spout off these things, which is completely untrue, obviously, Dylan, in your guys' case. I've seen Loose Change. It is, even the original cut, it is very well-researched. Everything is put there right in front of your face, and I can't believe that these people would even make comments like that if they saw your film. But they still proceed to do that, unfortunately. They make it, and I think that's
probably not seen it.
Well, that's part of the tactic, though, I think. I mean, in any type of when you want to stomp out any type of, any idea generation or free thinking or whatever it may be, you want to make them out to be fools. You want to make them look stupid, because that's what they're trying to make us do every day anyways. So why not just put them out in front of everybody? Look, this person's just completely stupid. Just blow them away. Are you following what I'm saying, though, Dylan? That this is how they try to portray people who want to ask questions like this. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, I got another good one for you. People criticize that there's more than one edition. They're like, oh, they have to change their story so many times. So it's like, the perfect response to that is, we don't use old history books. It's like people thought the Earth was flat at one point, and they had to throw out all the history books that said that the Earth was flat and completely rewrite their ideas. Not to say that there were history books at that point, but understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that there was a point where common knowledge was questioned and therefore proven to be inaccurate, and therefore history books had to be revised. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking about the slaughter of 3,000 people here, and of course, as more information and more resources come available, I'm not going to allow the movement to be represented as a film that is currently outdated. I'm not going to let a film that I made in April 2005 be the end-all, be-all when at the end of that year some very damning information comes out. And, now to this day we have Stephen Jones's paper being peer-reviewed, et cetera, et cetera. That there's new evidence that comes out all the time, and we've always been about trying to put together the best argument, and that's why there's 4 editions now to this day.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before. Even authors, they all do this. Especially as we all know with this situation where it goes, layers and layers deep with information, as you know better than anybody, Dylan. It's going to call for you guys to do, add more information, present more stuff out there. And again, that's my point, is that it's well researched. I've seen and talked to people like that are just like, these people they're just kind of following a mob mentality on this thing. They all want to just kind of follow each other on this, when in reality, it seems to me that the other side of this thing is a complete mob mentality. What we were talking about with Paul about 45 minutes ago, that the people that bury their heads in the sand and don't want to ask any questions about this stuff, they just basically, again, I hate to say it again, but they just want their reality TV on that HD TV they can't afford. They don't want anything else. They feel safe with that. So why ask questions? Why challenge the status quo on what may have happened on 9/11? And again, they just keep presenting it like, well, these people, they want, in my opinion, they want to make you look stupid. And I'm sure you guys have been hit with this time and time again, Dylan. They've tried to belittle you in the media. I've actually seen it, unfortunately. How do you guys react to that kind of stuff?
Man, I don't know. I try to stay off the internet as much as possible. And I try not to,
I don't blame you.
I don't know, man. I feel like there's all kinds of things are going to be said about me that aren't true, and I could stand up and try to defend them to this day. And there's many things that people come to me about over and over again, and I've tried to stand up and make a definitive statement about it.
Uh-huh.
And these people don't want an explanation. They want to be able to keep using these things again, and they want to be able to keep pointing to old statements and old interviews and say, see, he said this, and they never point to the part where I stand up and go, okay, I said this, and this is why I said it at the time, and if I said something wrong or offended people, I apologize. But again, they don't repeat those things because they can't use them to their advantage.
Exactly.
They can't acknowledge that I'm a human being, that we're all human beings, and that we're all in this, to try and do the right thing. They have to keep this image in their head that we're all these crazy people, and they can just keep calling us names. It's just ridiculous, man. As you said, it's a mob mentality because You know, their Bible is the 9/11 Commission report. Their Bible is the NIST report. I mean, a report, their Bible is a report, you know, whose authors openly admit in 2007 that they are unable to provide an explanation for the collapse of the buildings. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why we gave you money. I mean, that's why we gave you millions of dollars. You know, you're the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and you mean to tell us that you spent 10,000 pages to explain collapse initiation and then stop at the point where it's most important? Mm-hmm. I mean, they stop at the point where 3,000 people died. I mean, it's just ludicrous. And when questioned on camera, these people actually have the balls to say, "Oh, well, the video speaks for itself." I mean, dude, if I tried doing that in a science class, I would get an F.
You get an F, and if you tried that in any professional environment also, and I know in my line of work, and Doug's line of work, Amber's line of work, Bonnie's line of work, if somebody gave me a job to do, and I come back and said, well, I'm unable to do that job for you, I'm not unable to determine the information that I need to do that job, they say, well, that's great, we're unable to determine a paycheck for you, too. Right. Get the hell out of here and don't come back. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. I mean, and it happens over and over again in our government where you throw millions and billions of dollars at these people to figure a problem out that 9 times out of 10 can be figured out on a shoestring budget of $10 and a McDonald's Happy Meal. Right. Right? And they still come back with no answers, right? And it blows me away every time I see that because it's like the answers are right there. The funniest part is they still have their jobs. That's the funniest part. Why aren't you getting tossed on the street and eating potatoes like the majority of the people in this country are doing right now who did do their jobs, and they just, sorry, cutbacks, you got to go. You know? Yep. So, I mean, I see what you're saying completely, Dylan, and it's infuriating. It really is to see. You know, you put all your eggs into this basket. You think with all this money these people have behind them that they could get some answers for something, and they can't. It really is scary because it's like, well, these are supposed to be the smartest people in the world here on this project, and they can't figure out. It's a sad day. Do you follow what I'm saying, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely. And I had people, one person say on the radio the other day, it's like, oh, well, we're never going to be able to, you know, when I brought up the very point that I just brought up, and, you know, I was like, well, you know, the engineers and the physicists and these so-called experts that were supposedly tasked to explain how the buildings came down admitted that they're unable to. It's like, well, we're never going to know how they came down. It's like, well, no, you can't say that because we have better proof of how they came down with an alternative hypothesis than we do with, we have collapse initiation and the video speaks for itself. I mean, it's such, the NIST report, I mean, that's a cop-out right there. By definition, I mean, they are saying we are not able to do our job right there. Yeah. And for so many people, that's good. That's fine. That's totally acceptable. Oh, well, you know, that they did their job and they did the investigation. No, they did not. I mean, they failed miserably. They failed. And even people that don't believe the buildings were blown up still think that the NIST report on both the towers and Building 7 was inadequate. I mean, even people that think that people like me are crazy still think that the NIST report was completely inadequate.
Yes. Why don't we take a quick break here? Because I'm getting pissed, Dylan. I'm getting real pissed. Not at you, because I think you're fantastic. But I knew this was going to happen.
That was pretty much my reaction to the movie.
I knew this was going to happen by discussing this stuff tonight. So I need to go in and take a couple of breaths here. So let's take a quick break. Is that cool with you, Dylan? We just chill out for a few minutes here. Is that all right?
Absolutely, man.
All right, cool. Let's do that here. This is Ghostly Talk. I'm Scott L.
I'm girl number 1. Girl number 2.
And we'll be right back. We'll be back after we take a couple of breaths.
Miss a live broadcast? Feel free to download it direct from the on-demand archives at ghostlytalk.com. Oh, yeah, the Ghost Man and Demon Hunter show is rocking its way on the supernatural scene.
It's drive-time paranormal broadcasting without the driving or the timing. Just go to www.ghostanddemon.com.
Think you know what goes bump in the night? You ain't heard nothing yet.
Each week we'll be bringing you the best and the worst kept secrets in the paranormal community.
Yeah, us, the Ghost Man and Demon Hunter, Sunday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Ghostanddemon.com. The Ghost Man and Demon Hunter show is beyond the normal broadcast.
Shadow governments, strange rituals, new world
Shadow
order,
governments,
buried
strange
treasure,
New
planetary
world
mind
order.
control, military cover-up, corporate
Shadow government, strange rituals,
society,
new world order, buried treasure, planetary mind control, military cover-up, corporate interests,
presidential assassination,
unidentified flying objects, presidential assassination,
ancient rites,
Freemasons, the
pyramids,
Illuminati, fascists,
Illuminati,
cryptozoology,
fascists,
alchemy,
cryptozoology, alchemy, apocalypse,
bizarre,
bizarre underground,
out there,
out there, out there,
out there.
out there. It's a strange world.
Visit OutThereRadio.net for more information.
Stop
Is the veil between this world and the next getting thinner? I'm Chris Sloan, inviting you to join in and listen to a new podcast that deals with the paranormal, Parapod, with new guests every week, from to the people they help. Hear actual EVP. The people that capture them.
We go into a case to disprove a haunting.
3 flashlights, actually 4 counting the lantern, were actually honed in on this thing, and it was swallowing the light up.
Parapod. Log on to myspace.com/Chris Sloan Radio. That's myspace.com/ChrisSlone Radio. The only difference between the believer and the skeptic is time, and your time is now.
Mysterious vessel into the blackest of voids.
Loose Change 9/11. We're talking to Dylan Avery. Like I knew it was going to be here tonight. I knew it was going to be an emotional night for all of us. You get a little fired up, and from what I understand, I stepped away for a couple of seconds, but Doug was getting fired up on the break there too. He was screaming and yelling when I come back, and he was out of control. Are you all right now, Doug? Did we lose Doug? I think we lost him.
Might have lost him.
We lost him. Yeah, he was going. Well, it's happened. I wish I would have known that we would run back. Well, he got so mad that his phone melted. I think
threw it out the window.
I think he just threw the phone out the window. Said, "I'm done with this." He's driving like to Mexico right now or something. He's just leaving the country probably. So I don't know.
His phone got sick of the abuse and it hung up.
What we were talking about before the break, though, we were obviously talking about a bunch of stuff. What we were talking about, though, is that the failure of our government to really explain what. Well, obviously, in my opinion, they're going to give you what they think you should get. They're not going to, whatever the truth may be. Well, let me ask you that, Dylan. I mean, I'm not trying to throw any curveballs at you here, but obviously, Loose Change presents a very compelling, which I pretty much agree with, display of evidence on what may have really happened. Do you think that you guys have answered all the questions just yet, or do you think there's even more to be looked into in the future for the whole 9/11 tragedy?
Well, I would even say at this point that we raise more questions than answers because a lot of the things are very hard to answer because of the lack of information we have at our disposal.
Yeah.
Between all the things that were either destroyed and shipped away, sold to the lowest bidder, cut up, you name it, evidence that's either been destroyed, held away, classified under national security, trials that they say they can't find or that were destroyed on September 11th. There's so many things that we don't know about September 11th, and I think it's by design. It's not, one of the things that I always have to say to people is that if this were truly a surprise attack, and we really were just caught off guard, and they never could have seen these attacks coming, why is there so much secrecy? Why are there so many things we can't hear, can't see, can't read? Information, pages that have been blacked out, censored, removed, redacted, you name it. There's so much that we don't know about September 11th, and I can't believe people actually have the audacity to say, oh, well, the 9/11 Commission explains it all, when in reality they explain very little.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I hate to use to cite this again, but it's really my only pivot to work on is that when it comes to evidence and information to back you up, I can only, cite my line of work, what I do. What we do, and I'm not changing the world.
No.
I'm not out there shaking it up, but I'm making a good living, doing the best I can. But I know what we do, what Doug and I do, essentially with our trade. We have to record everything, Dylan. I mean, and, you know, every little nuance of the work we do, it has to be recorded, and there has to be change controls filed to make any type of changes, so it can be looked back on, and there's no question to who did it, what was done, what may have went wrong, what went right. I mean, anything you need to answer, the information is there to help you answer that question, right? Now, it seems to me that in a situation like this where information, as you know, Dylan, is completely crucial to answering, you know, to getting the truth to getting to the truth of the matter, you'd think that the people in charge, Rudy Giuliani at the time, that they would go, well, wait, we just can't trash all this stuff. We better keep this to, you know, because people are going to want to look at this stuff. Obviously, I'm referring to all the wreckage and building materials that came down on September 11th, where it was just, from what I understand, it was just scrapped. I mean, as fast as they could, they picked it up and it was scrapped. It seems to me
it was literally sold to the lowest bidder.
Really? I mean, okay, so it wasn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't scrapped. It was sold, correct?
Well, no, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to correct you. I'm just
no,
saying,
it's
like,
fine. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Just to you know, not to get your point, is that, yeah, I mean, they literally took the lowest amount of money that they could just to scrap it and get rid of it.
No, that's fine. I mean, like I said, from what I understood, it was scrap. But if it was sold, it was sold. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's fine. But again, I mean, the point still is there, though. You know, why would you do that? I mean, let's just use common sense here for a second, which I'm sure you guys have. You obviously have an abundance of this. Why? Look, we need to hold on to this stuff here because this was a major catastrophe. We need, and all we've been trying to do for the last 7 years is find out what happened, right? Well, it seems to me that the key to it would be the building materials that were the target of this attack, but it seemed to be just sold, like you said, sold to the lowest bidder as quick as possible, and it's totally gone now. And I'm sure, obviously, you guys have, like you just said, you've run into more. You probably have more questions now than you do have answers after all these years of work. It don't surprise me to hear that. But it's scary that how these things can be. Like I was saying before, with our trade, with what we do, you have to record everything. It just blows my mind, Dylan, that somebody can actually in the governmental power can use an excuse like, well, sorry, we threw all that stuff away, and it can be accepted. It can be completely accepted as an excuse for why they don't have the information that they should always have on hand. It scares the crap out of me, to be frank, Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite thing is that they say that there's no better footage of what hit the Pentagon when in all the pictures of the wreckage, you know, immediately after the impact, you can actually see surveillance cameras on the roof exactly above the point of impact. We're talking a camera every 20 to 50 feet. I can't believe it. I mean, I had David Aronovich, who's this, you know, published author about conspiracy theories and how ludicrous they all are. I was on a radio show with him a while ago, and he actually said to me, you know, he's like, well, you know, the cameras that they had that recorded at the Pentagon are really low frame rate and really couldn't capture anything moving that fast. I mean, it's just, I can't believe that these people will just swallow hook, line, and sinker what they've heard. I mean, you're telling, I understand it was 2001, but even in 2001, the Department of Defense had to have full motion cameras. I mean, this is the heart of the United States military and defense. They have to have high-quality recordings of what goes on the premises at all times. I mean, you have to be kidding me.
Well, yeah, this is our defense. This is, I mean, as high up as it goes, from what I understand. Just common sense here again. I mean, I don't know exactly everything. Obviously, I don't. But you'd think just common sense is going to say, well, look, we are the, you know, this is the heart of our defense right here. We need to have the absolute top of the line, most sophisticated equipment that is out there. To record everything that happens. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. It seems like they would have stuff even before it went to market, you know, for the common consumer. But no, they don't. They have apparently what I could have bought at the time at a Best Buy or something would be better quality than what our defense has on their property. That makes no sense to me whatsoever, and it's a travesty if it's true. How could you do that then?
Yeah.
How could you do that?
Spend too much money on $10,000 toilets.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Dylan?
I was just going to say, I mean, talking with you about that and just kind of thinking about it, there has to, you know, whether or not it still exists is up for debate, but there had to have been video of what happened. There absolutely had to have been. I mean, there's no way those low resolution, low frame rate, 5 images that we saw, and then the subsequent release in 2006. There's no way that is the only available coverage of the lawn. I mean, you know, I can't believe it. I understand the part was under renovation, but come on. I do not believe it. There had to have been video of what happened there. There simply had to have been.
Like I said before, everything you do, especially now, is recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that when I go out on my daily walk now, I'm probably on about 4 or 5 different cameras.
Oh, yeah.
There's that creepy guy walking with his MP3 player again. You know, I mean, I'm sure I'm on. You're recorded and you don't even know it. Again, like I said before, with just my job, and I'm a spoke in the wheel. I have to record everything I do. Anything. I can't. I mean, how many examples do I have to give here? We're always, especially in this age where everything is being written to hard drives now, everything we do is recorded. Credit card transactions, that's a no-brainer. Everything we do, our spending habits, everything. They know everything about us. You mean to tell me that you don't have the most sophisticated equipment on that property to see what happened, aside from a couple of grainy little, you know, really short-framed shots that we've all seen? That don't cut it, and I can't believe that. And you mentioned, Dylan, a second ago, you know, somebody has to have something. I am convinced that somebody has something, and either they're in a position where they don't want to release it because it's not into their best interests, or, well, I hate to say it, maybe they're holding out for the best bid. Maybe they're holding out for the best bid also, Dylan. I mean, there's probably many other reasons, but, I mean, I agree that there's got to be something out there, some real footage on that thing that would answer a lot of questions for us.
Yeah, I hope I get to see it before I die.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, really.
Well, that's where I think, you know, it's so frustrating about this whole situation that we've been all, you know, like we were talking about with Paul, you know, in the last segment. This still affects us today.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It happens. We have to witness the anniversary every year. We have to relive those emotions and think about where we were at.
We have to deal with all our rights that have been taken away as a result.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole thing. I know, Dylan, that Doug was kind of giving you the high level on what happened to us not too long ago, coming back to America from Canada, correct?
Yeah.
Completely. I mean, look, they didn't beat us with nightsticks. They didn't spray paint us.
Have.
They didn't. Thanks, Bonnie. They didn't. You know, but they did enough to really shake us up and let us know that they can screw with us anytime they want. Mm-hmm. They let us know that they're in charge and there's nothing that we can do. And like I said in the last segment, I'll say it again to you, Dylan. When I was yelling about it on the way back in the car, Doug looked at me and said, "We can all blame ourselves for this. We let it happen." And we are to blame for this. We are the ones that are letting these people eviscerate the Constitution and take away every right we have, where even with a passport, manifest of equipment, nothing to hide, all the paperwork we need, we still get pulled over and we still get shaken down. We have ourselves to blame for that. And it's things like 9/11. I think 9/11 was the ultimate thing to scare us as a people to the point where we'll do whatever you gotta do. I just want to feel safe. I just want to feel safe out there. And there's the opposition that I think you guys have had since day one, Dylan, is that people, even though I think they are interested in the truth, they want to know the truth scares the living hell out of them. And that's why you get this opposition, I think. Because people, even though they want to know what the truth is, they're scared of the truth, and they know that knowing the truth could could get them in a lot of trouble. Do you follow what I'm saying, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm sorry, go ahead, what were you going to say?
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I agree.
I'm sorry. I mean, there's just all these ideas, and like this goes back to what we were saying, before the break. You guys, I mean, I commend you guys, and I applaud you guys because, like we were saying to Paul, there's nobody wants to nobody wants to shake the waters up. Nobody wants to ask questions because they're afraid of losing their house. They're afraid of losing their job. They're afraid of losing all these things they've worked for. Even people in positions of power who may have something to say, they're afraid of the same thing. And that's why takes a lot of guts for you guys to go and put together something like this and put yourself out in the public like that. And as you well know, I mean, you take a beating like we were talking about before. That's hard to do, and try to get some information out to people. And again, I know you guys have probably taken you've had a lot of problems as a result of that.
Yeah. That's putting it lightly.
Again, I mean, just doing this, our show here, and we've been, we're on our 8th year now. I mean...
Feels like 100.
Well, I will say for us, even though it may be a little different after tonight, but I mean, we've taken our share of beatings, too, just talking about the stuff that we talk about, which we don't talk about 9/11 every single week, Dylan. But we've taken our share of beatings too, just for the little bit we do. Going into something like you guys have done, I can only imagine that it's been rough on you guys. You said the movie's coming out September. It's coming. I have here September 22nd, 2009. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct, and it's going to be available in stores. You can go on Walmart's site right now and pre-order it if you want.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Excellent.
So,
Yeah.
And well, I mean, go ahead.
I've made as many people as I possibly can watch that movie, whether they wanted to or not. I've made them watch it.
Oh, yeah.
I think everyone needs to watch it, because it infuriated me to no end by the end of that movie.
Well, even if you don't, and I'm sure you may have heard this before, Dylan. I mean, even if you don't agree with everything, at least give it a watch.
Think on it.
Just take in the information and think about what's being presented. I have taken in the information from the other side and processed it, and I think it's BS, personally. Right. But I gave it a chance, though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being skeptical about anything, but at least to have some information to be skeptical about. Be educated.
Right.
Don't put your head in the sand. And that's why I always tell people, check out this film. What does the future hold for you guys, though? What are you guys going to be doing? I mean, the film's coming out on the 22nd. We only got a couple minutes here, unfortunately. What does the future hold for you guys, though? What do you guys got going on down the road?
I mean, down the road, I'm trying to get out there as, I hate to use the word legitimate, but yeah, I'm trying to get out there as a legitimate director and writer. I mean, the whole reason I'm in this and the whole reason I made the Loose Change films is because I'm a filmmaker. I'm a director. I like to entertain. I like to tell stories, and I like to get people thinking. I like to challenge people. So yeah, I'm trying to get myself out there as a legitimate director. I'm doing some music videos here and there. I got some scripts I'm working on. I don't know. I guess I'm just hoping that someone somewhere out there sees my work and says, I think I can give this kid a shot at some real work, and go from there. Yeah.
It's a great. I mean, everything we've seen has been fantastic, well put together. What are you guys doing on 9/11? Are you guys have any plans? Are you guys going to be at Ground Zero on 9/11?
Actually, this is going to be the first year since 2005 that I'm not. Well, actually, I wasn't there in 2004. I was at 05. So yeah, I mean, this will be the first time since 2005 that I won't be at Ground Zero, because I'm going to be up in San Francisco for a premiere on the 9th, because they're having a huge film festival up there. Stephen Jones is going to be there. Richard Gage. It's going to be huge. So we're premiering the film up there on the 9th, and I'm actually doing another premiere down in Los Angeles on the 11th. And then, I don't know, just kind of crossing my fingers and holding my breath until the 22nd.
I don't blame you. Well, first off, I want to thank you for joining us. Hang on the line. Don't leave us just yet, though. We're not kicking you off. But just hang on the line for 1 second, though. But we're getting right. We're butting up here right on the end. I don't want to. We've been going over a lot lately, and so I'm trying to prevent that now. But what I do want to say, though, is we dedicated a whole show to this. Well. The bulk, what our interview schedule is now. We dedicated this all to 9/11, and obviously, the reasons. Everybody out there, just a couple days, we're going to be I just celebrated. I said the word celebrate. We're going to be basically acknowledging the tragedy of 9/11. We've made it abundantly clear how we feel about this on the show here and how it affected us. And question,
regardless of your view on it, 3,000 people needlessly died that day.
Yeah, I don't care who, what belief you're under of what happened. Innocent people died. Mm-hmm. People that were going to work, people with families, people that were trying to make something out of their lives, who were excited to be working at, the World Trade Center. Right. I mean, these people, there's 3,000 stories there, and that's what really makes it such a heavy thing. And that's why I think, regardless of whether we're a paranormal ghost talk show or whatever you want to call us nowadays, we needed to really, every year we have obviously tipped our hat to it and took our hat off. But this year I really wanted to focus on that. So mainly I want to thank you, Dylan, for joining us and talking about the new film coming out. Thank you so much. I want to thank Paul Cross, who we talked to earlier. Doug, he's been back and forth here. I'm sure he'd say the same. Well, thanks, Doug, for hanging in there as long as you could, and hopefully he'll be back.
Right.
Why is he getting all this vacation?
I don't know. It's kind of bold, but I'm taking the next month off. No, I'm kidding.
Really?
Yeah. I said I'm kidding.
Yeah, okay. Well, no, Doug will be back hopefully, and I know Doug will be back in full force next week.
Yes.
Hopefully very refreshed to do this show and be back here. And then he gets another week off because we're going to be at the Mothman Festival.
Right.
Wonderful. So when coming up this week, unfortunately, which is going to be this Friday, is going to be 9/11. Obviously, I think it's all going to be near and dear to our hearts. There's nothing I can say here to put it into words.
Nope.
I am never going to be that good of a broadcaster. I am not that witty. But obviously, keep everybody in your thoughts, whatever your your beliefs are, or whatever it may be. Keep them in your thoughts. And I know I usually light a candle on the 11th of September, just to kind of put it in my mind,
right.
What happened.
And I will be going out and buying the movie, even though I have a copy of it already.
Well, this is the new one. You don't have that one. But just keep that in your thoughts. I really can't. There's nothing more I can really say. It's just a sad thing, and every year it don't get any easier.
No,
I think for all of us, just mentally. And I didn't have any family there.
Me either.
But I still feel for those people. So, all of our respect goes out to the families like they always do, and the people like Dylan and Paul who are out there trying to make a difference and trying to keep people thinking, which is what Ghostly Talk's all about. That's why these people are here. So we're going to be done with it here, though. I think we went out to do what we did this week, and again, thank you to the guests. Thank you, Amber, for helping out here tonight, and buy Amber's book. You have to buy Amber's book now.
Buy Amber's book now.
Thank you to all you guys out there listening to the show, and fire me an email. We can exchange ideas on this stuff. You may not agree with what we talked about tonight. We want to hear from you. ScottL@GhostlyTalk.com. I want to hear what you have to say about this stuff.
Right.
Other than that, we're out of here. This has been Ghostly Talk. I'm Scott L.
I'm girl number 1.
Girl number 2.
And we'll see you guys next week when it's going to be the real Ghostly Talk show.